Welcome back to OT Sports, and today we are going to be doing our 2024 NBA award predictions. Now, I want to get this out of the way real quick. I know I just said predictions, but it's not going to be a prediction of who's going to win what award because, I feel like if we did that, we could get, every single one right. Just go with the betting favorite and, make a boring video. This is going to be on who I think deserves to win each award. So that's going to be MVP, DPOY, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player, Rookie of the Year, all of that. We're also doing our NBA first, second, third teams, all defensive first and second team, and all rookie first and second team. So, yeah, it's going to be a pretty jam-packed video. Don't want to keep the intro nice and short. Real quick, though, before we get started, make sure you go down there, subscribe to the channel if you're new, like the video if you enjoy. Turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss when we upload a video. We do college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you go down there, subscribe. And as always, Discord X linked in the description. Join that, follow that. But with all that being said, let's jump in to the first award. And I believe this award has already been announced, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% on that. Even if it's not, I'm going to go with the pretty simple answer here. We'll look at the top three candidates right now. We got the Thunder's coach, we got the Magic coach, and the Timberwolves coach. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Thunder coach. I believe his name is Mark Daytonall. I think that's how you say it. I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's how you say it. Me and Connor are both gonna go ahead and take him. He led this very young team to the first seed in the West. The Magic coach has done a great job. The Timberwolves coach as well. But I think this one's pretty straightforward. I'm going to take the Thunder's coach here. Looking at Rookie of the Year, this is another one where I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Now, early in the season, Chet did give Wembanyama, a little bit of run for his money. There were people making arguments he should win in December. But ever since that, ever since then, it's kind of been Wembanyama running away with it. Brandon Miller's had a great season. You got guys like Jaime Jaquez, Derek Lively in there. But I don't think anyone really compares to Wembanyama right now for Rookie of the Year, and me and Connor are both going to go ahead and take him. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Connor on today. He was busy with he's got some stuff going on today. I was going to try to. He hasn't been on in a while, but we did still get his picks here for this. Now looking at Clutch Player of the Year now. This one I feel like is the first one where you could really go a different direction here. DeRozan is the betting favorite right now. And I'm going to go ahead and take DeRozan just because I am a Bulls fan. You can call me biased, but I think he deserves the award. The Bulls have played the most total minutes in the NBA this year, meaning they've been the most overtime games. They've played the most clutch minutes. I feel like over half of their games have been within 5 points in the last 3 minutes. They played in a lot of close games this year. DeRozan has been the best player for the whole year, so I feel like he deserves the award there. Connor's going to go ahead and take Curry. He's a pretty big Warriors guy, so you could make an argument for Curry. He's had some buzzer beaters here and there. He's always going to be clutch. You could make an argument for Lillard too. He's had some buzzer beaters here and there, but I think this one, in my opinion, should be DeRozan. You could argue Curry, Dame. I don't really know if you could argue him. He is third right now though, in terms of odds wise. Now moving in to this is where the awards really get interesting in my opinion. Clutch Player of the Year they added last year. It's a cool award, but people don't really seem to care about it too much. Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year seem like runaway favorites there. This is where I feel like you could go in a lot of different directions here because you could make an argument for all three of these guys. So we're going to start off with the favorite, Tyrese Maxey. He's had a great season. Obviously the Sixers have been without Joel Embiid for most of the year. Maxey went from 20 points per game last year to a all-star player. He led this team to a playoff berth because Embiid wasn't there for the majority of the season. And Maxey's really out of his own. I think he's averaging 27 points per game right now. He's doing great. he's averaging 26, 26, 4 and 6. It's a pretty good stat line there. He's had a great year, really improved from last season. Kobe White is the second guy. I think you can make a very intriguing case for him. He went from about like 13, 12 points per game, a solid rotational piece at best, to the second best player, and in some cases, in some games, in many cases of the season, Kobe White's been their best player. We saw it in the play-in game against Atlanta. He dropped 42, a career high. He was great there. He has really improved. I think he's up to about 20 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe White's had a phenomenal jump here. He's averaging 19, 5 and 5. He's had a great season. Now he hasn't had to lead the team like Maxey did, but he has had a great year. And Jalen Williams really stepped up from being a rookie last year. He is a bona fide star there in OKC. He might make an All-Star game next season. I wouldn't be surprised. He's the second option there behind SGA. He's been great offensively and defensively. In my opinion, and you can call me biased, I know, I'm going to take Kobe White. I think, I've always said this for most improved player. I don't think it should be a guy you knew would get to an all-star level. He had a year where he was at about, 19, 18, 20 points per game around there, jumping up to 25, 26, and becoming an all-star when you kind of knew he was going to be an all-star. We saw that happen with John Morant 2 years ago, and I didn't really agree with that. I thought it probably should have been Jordan Poole. Kobe White, people were giving up on him. People said the Bulls, they paid him 3 years, $30 million. People said that was a bad contract. People said the Bulls overpaid. Now looking at it, he's on one of the best contracts in the league. He's a phenomenal player. So I'm going to take Kobe White, and Connor's going to go ahead and agree with me. So we've agreed on a lot of these, but I feel like that's how this award should be given out. Now it's probably going to be Maxey, but I think it should be Kobe White, in my opinion. Again, this isn't a prediction of who's going to win. It's who I think deserves to win. If I had to vote, who I would vote for. So I'm going to take Kobe White. I'm going to give him my most improved player. Now looking at Sixth Man of the Year. Now this one could get a little interesting. I don't think you could really argue Norman Powell there. He's sitting at third right now. He has had a great season coming off the bench for the Clippers. I believe he's the third leading scorer on that team. That's a team with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi, Paul George. He's been great coming off the bench there. The Clippers are a very deep team. But for me, it's between Malik Monk and Naz Reid. And Malik Monk has really, in my opinion, set himself apart from the rest of this pack. I think Malik Monk deserves this one. He's averaging, I think, like 20 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. Now I'm going to check that real quick just to make sure, but he's had a phenomenal season coming off the bench for Sacramento. I know they are the 9 seed, but yeah, 15 points off the bench, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. He's really been, that second unit guy behind De'Aaron Fox, the playmaker there. He's their third leading scorer, only behind Fox and Sabonis. Nothing against Naz Reid. Naz Reid's had a phenomenal season. I think you could argue him for most improved player as well. He wasn't in the top 3, but he probably is in the top 5 for that. He's had really a breakout year. Great regular season for him. Coming off the bench there in Minnesota behind Cat and Rudy Gobert. He's averaging 13.5 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist, a steal, and a block. But I am going to go with Malik Monk here. Connor's going to go ahead and take Naz Reid. And I don't blame him. Naz Reid's had a great year, but in my opinion, I think it should be Malik Monk here. I just think he's been a little bit better and more impactful for the Kings in their second unit. Now we get into the big leagues. The last 2 awards here, we got DPOY, and the next is MVP. So DPOY, I think, is between Rudy Gobert and Wembanyama. Anthony Davis, I think, also, many people could argue him. I think this might be AD's best defensive season he's had. He's been amazing there for the Lakers this year, in the paint. And it's kind of a shame that he hasn't won a DPOY yet because he's been one of the best defenders in the league for his entire career. And I don't think he's going to win this one again. Now, Rudy Gobert is the runaway favorite for this one, but I'm actually going to go ahead and take Wembanyama. I just talked about AD, just talked about Gobert. I didn't really mention Wembanyama, and I don't think he's going to win. But if I had to give a vote, I would give it to him just because he has had, an amazing season there in San Antonio. He's averaging 3.6 blocks and a steal a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. I know he's a rookie, so he's not going to win, but in my opinion, he should. I mean, 3.6 blocks is just ridiculous. I know he's big, but so is Rudy Gobert, and he's not putting up that many blocks. Now, I know he's probably one of the best rim protectors in the league, if not the best, but I think Wembanyama is more versatile. And I think he should get it. I know he's probably not going to get it. Yeah, I mean, Gobert's averaging 2.1 blocks, 0.7 steals to Wembanyama's 1 steal and 3.6 blocks. I mean, just looking at that, I know you got to look at the efficiency on the court, but when you look at it that way, I think it should still be Wembanyama. The Spurs have one of the worst defenses in the league when he is off the court, and when he's on the court, they have one of the best. I believe top 5 when he's on the court. That's ridiculous. I'm going with Wembanyama, and Connor's going to go ahead and join me. He probably won't win it because he's a rookie, but I think he definitely deserves to win it, and he would get my votes. But now, looking at the one everyone wants to know, the MVP, who's going to win it this year? And once again, Nikola Jokic has been, kind of starting to separate himself here near the end of the season in terms of betting odds, at least. He's the heavy favorite right now. SGA's right there. I've seen a lot of people clamoring for him. He led the Thunder to a 1 seed in the West. Very young team over there. I think the case for SGA being the MVP, you got to look at the defense, right? I mean, Jokic, not the best defender. Luka, not the best defender. Even guys like Giannis and Tatum, who are probably 4th and 5th in the MVP right now. I guess those two are pretty good defenders. But, Luka and Jokic, not known for the defense there. SGA is one of the better defenders in the league. We'll get to that in a little bit. Just so both sides of the ball, I think you gotta factor that in for MVP. That's why I could see you argue SGA. He's also on the 1 seed in the West, a team who has a better record than the Nuggets. That's kind of my argument there for SGA. He's also averaging 31 points per game. He's been amazing this season. Jokic obviously is going to be the favorite here. He's the efficiency master. I mean, he's advanced stats. Love him. And rightfully so. He's been, amazing. 32 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. I was looking at the playoff stats. 26 points per game, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal and a block. I mean, that's just, can't get much better than that. Looking at Luka, though, and I feel like people are overlooking Luka. He's averaging 34, 9, and 10. Along with 1 steal and half a block a game. Almost a 34-point triple-double. It's very reminiscent of Russell Westbrook's season from, his MVP season, where he was averaging a triple-double. He got about, I think, the 5 or the 6 seed in the West. He won it, and a lot of people are going to go out and say Jokic. Seen a lot of people saying SGA. I'm going to go ahead and be the brave soul and take Luka. I think he's the best player in the league. I just do. Now, Luka, I did have winning the MVP in my preseason. I thought he would win it. That was my prediction, and I think he deserves to win it. Now, it's probably going to be Jokic, but in my opinion, Luka this season has had just a phenomenal year. I think it's got to be Luka. Connor's going to go ahead and take Jokic. I don't blame him. Jokic is going to be the guy who is probably going to end up winning it. He's probably going to win his 3rd. But I think the fact that Luka has not won an MVP yet is pretty ridiculous. He's been a top 5 player in the league ever since he's been, you know, in the league. So I'm gonna take Luka for my MVP. Now looking at All NBA first team, we're gonna go through this a little bit faster just because we've kind of given our insight on a lot of guys already. It's positionless this year, which I think is cool. I think it's, long deserved positions in basketball have kind of, not, I don't want to say non-existent, but they've kind of taken a back seat a little bit. So, obviously these three got to be first teamers. They're the top 3 in the MVP votes. And then the guys I mentioned before, Giannis and Tatum, those were kind of 4th and 5th there in the MVP voting. I think this is a clear first team. If you got anything else, I mean, you could argue Jalen Brunson instead of Tatum. You could argue Anthony Edwards instead of Tatum. Those are really the only 2 guys I think you could argue. I think Giannis is pretty much safe here in the first team. No Embiid, no Donovan Mitchell, just because they missed too much time. But those 2 would definitely make it if they were not injured. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not saying they would make first team, but they would definitely be, second or third team at the very least. So yeah, I think you could argue Jalen Brunson. I think you could argue Anthony Edwards, but I'm going to go with Tatum. He's on the best team in the league. He's been their best player all season. Yeah, Connor's going to go ahead and take Jokic as first, Luka's second, SGA third. I mean, we're kind of just doing it in order of how we'd rank them right now. Not okay. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying, I'm not saying SGA is better than Giannis, because personally I think Giannis is potentially the best player in the league. Maybe Jokic. I'd probably give it to Jokic, but I think Luka deserves the MVP more. I think he's had a better season, but I think Jokic is still the best player in the league, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying that way. I'm just saying I think these are the most deserving of first team, just based on the rankings that we have it. So Connor's going to go ahead and have the same top 3 as me. Not surprising. He's going to take Giannis at 4. I like that. He's going to go Anthony Edwards at 5. I obviously disagree, but I think, you could make an argument, like I said, for Jalen Brunson or Anthony Edwards instead of Tatum, but I think it's got to be Tatum. So that's our first team. My second team, I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards, like I said. These are the only 2 other guys I could see potentially making a first team. Then to round out my second team, I'm going to take Kawhi. He's had a great season there for the Clippers. Been their best player. He's, he's getting up there in age, but he's still one of the best players in the league. KD here on the second team, I think he deserves it. He's still one of the best players in the league. Similar to Kawhi, he's been the Suns' best player all year. Great season for KD. And then finally, I think I'm going to go Anthony Davis. I like the defensive, the way he's been playing on defense and offensively. I think you could argue Anthony Davis has been the best player on the Lakers this season. I wouldn't call you crazy. I think, my opinion, he has been better than LeBron this season. But LeBron's still LeBron. He's still, one of the best players in the league, obviously. Connor's going to go ahead and take Tatum here at 6. Yeah, makes sense. Brunson at 7. Those are kind of the top 7 there. I still disagree with the Tatum opinion, but, he's allowed to make his own list. He's going KD here. I only have him 1 spot lower. He's going Curry. I think that's a little bit too high for Curry. I don't think he's quite a second teamer this year. I think more third team is realistic. And then he's going to go LeBron here at second team. You can make an argument for LeBron at second team. Me personally, though, I don't think so. Now looking at my third team, I got Domantas Sabonis. The fact that he wasn't an all-star is a crime. He is, in my opinion, one of the best centers in the league. One of the best players in the league, obviously, if I have him all-NBA third team. He broke the consecutive double-doubles record, which is pretty crazy. He's averaging like 14 rebounds a game. He's leading the league in rebounding. And, he's having a great season. 19 points per game, 13.7 rebounds, and 8.2 assists. That is ridiculous. So give me Sabonis here, third team. I think you can make an argument for second team for him. Then I'm going to go LeBron Curry. That's kind of where I have these two guys. I don't think they're quite second team like Connor says, but they're definitely third team players. And then to round out my third team, I'm gonna go ahead and take Devin Booker. I think he's done enough to get here. He's definitely on the edge though. And then finally, my final spot, I'm gonna go Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's done enough to deserve this spot here. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's reached the 65 games minimum. Yeah, he's played 69 games. Okay, so we are good with that. I think he's done enough there for the Pacers, getting them into the playoffs for the first time in a while. Assist-wise, he's been ridiculous. He's the league leader in assists, 20 points per game, 11 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal, and a block. It's pretty good. It's good enough for me. I think he deserves his third team spot. Now, guys who just missed the cut, you could go Jimmy Butler, you could go Bam, you could go Zion. Those are kind of some names I would think of just off the top of my head who I considered, but ultimately came up a little bit short. Connor's going to go with Kawhi here. I think that's pretty low for Kawhi. I think he's comfortably a second teamer. Devin Booker here. Sabonis. Anthony Davis, I think, is a little bit low there. And then for his final spot, he's going to go Zion. Don't disagree. We had 14 of the 15 same. I had Tyrese Halliburton. He had Zion. You could make an argument for Zion, I think. But I think, those are kind of the guys there. I'm thinking for my All NBA third team. Now let's look at the All Defensive team, first team. And in my opinion, I know this one. I believe this one is still positions, which I think is weird. If the All NBA teams are positionless, I think this one should be. So I'm just gonna go based off not positionless. I tried to make it have kind of positions, but there were some centers that I slid into the forward spot just because I felt they deserved to be first teamers. So starting off with the two guards I had, I know Herb Jones is more of a wing, but Derek White, great for the Celtics. I think he deserves it. Herb Jones, lengthy, pesky defender, annoying. I think he deserves it as well. At the forward spot, like I said, I put in some centers here. I think Wembanyama kind of counts as. I mean, he's you can make an argument. He's played point guard. He can play any position, so I got him here. I got Anthony Davis. He's played mostly center this year, but I think defensively he's been one of the best players in the league. And then I got Rudy Gobert as well. So I think this is probably the 5 guys I would go with. Connor's got he's got a pretty crazy list here for first team. Now, a lot of the guys on his list I have second team. So this I think is pretty crazy. Caruso, you could make an argument, but I don't think he's quite on the level of Derek White and Herb Jones. SGA, like I said, he's been one of the best defenders in the league, but I don't think he's quite on the level of defensive first team, at least this season. He's got Jaden McDaniels. Some people don't even have him on their ballots. So that's interesting. He is a really good defender, but I don't know if he's first team yet. Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert, those are kind of the two staples there. I think you got to go with on the first team. Now looking at my second team, like I said, Connor had a lot of guys on his first team that were on my second team. So I got Caruso. I think he's definitely deserving of second team. Just don't know if he's quite on the level of guys like Derek White and Herb Jones defensively. Now I know he is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and he's pretty good perimeter defender in clutch time. So I like him here for my second team. I got Jalen Suggs. He's been a very good player for the Magic this season. One of the staples there for that Magic defense. I think he's definitely deserving of this spot. SGA, like I said, one of the more dominant two-way players in the league, maybe the most. Jaden McDaniels I have here. He's a great player. He can guard 1 through 4. So I like that for him. And then I'm going Bam here. I think he's deserving of that last spot. Connor's gonna have a lot of the guys that were on my first team here. He's going with Derek White, Jalen Suggs again. He's been very good. I love Jalen Suggs. I'm proud of where he's come to in his career. We got Herb Jones here. We got Anthony Davis and Bam. I think those are, I think there's 8 spots that have kind of locked up. I think SGA and Jaden McDaniels, some people, they might not make it. Those are just my opinions. But I think, Derek White, Herb Jones for sure in, Caruso for sure in, Jalen Suggs for sure in, AD, Bam, Wembanyama, and Gobert all should be in my opinion, for sure. And then there's kind of 2 spots open there that I put SGA and Jaden McDaniels in. Now, the final team here, we got the all-rookie first team. And I think this is a pretty clear 5. Connor has one difference, which I don't agree with, but in my opinion, this should be the 5 right here on your first team. Brandon Miller, great player. I know he's he's like 6'9", but all these. I don't know if the rookie team is positionless. I didn't look at that. I hope it's not, because these have been the 5 best rookies by far. There's quite a bit of a drop-off after this. Brandon Miller, great player. Jaime Jaquez for the Heat. He's played a lot of minutes for them this season. Chet Holmgren, been, the third option there on the Thunder. He's been amazing. He's averaging like 18, I think. Wembanyama, obviously, is going to win Rookie of the Year. And then Derek Lively for the Mavericks has been a crucial piece there for them this season. Connor's got the same top 4, and then he's got Trace Jackson Davis. I don't know why. He is a big Warriors guy, but he's obviously not first team. I would argue Podziemski is better than him for the Warriors, and I do have him on my second team, along with Bilal Coulibaly for the Wizards. He's been a really good player for them. I've liked what I've seen from him. Keontae George for the Jazz. He's shown a lot of flashes this year. Asar Thompson. I actually don't know if he's played enough games. I don't know if there's a game limit or there's a game requirement for the all-rookie team. But I think he's deserving just because of his defensive prowess there. And then I got Trace Jackson Davis just because he's played a lot of minutes in the past couple months for the Warriors. He's been a pretty big piece for them. Connor on his second team is going to go with Scoot Henderson. You can make an argument for Scoot. I don't know if I would put him on my team, but he's definitely in the conversation. Then he's going with Podziemski, Keontae George, Asar Thompson, and Derek Lively. I obviously disagree with Derek Lively being on second team. I think he should be first team pretty safely there. But, we're going to have some different opinions here and there. So, yeah, that's going to do it for all of the NBA awards, my awards, my opinion on every single award and who should win. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you go down there, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like I said earlier, we do college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, go down there, subscribe, turn on the notices to make sure you don't miss when we upload. Next week, I don't know what the schedule is going to look like for upload. We're probably going to put in an MLB video in there just because it's been a couple weeks since our last one when we predicted the whole MLB season. Popping up on your screen right now, 2 most recent videos. Check those out. NBA and NHL playoff predictions. As always, thank you for watching. Discord X linked in the description. Join that, follow that. With all that being said, I will see you guys in a couple days with that MLB video. Hope you guys enjoyed this.